So we're just at the beginning of the walk here. I might have heard one of those snorting deer noises a second ago. So I'm keeping him on leash for a minute just to be able to check around that field and just see if I hear it again. But this is a good time when he's on the long line. I'm just gonna, a little harder to handle the leash properly while I'm holding a camera. But this is a good time just to do some prompts, sort of word check-ins. He looked at me a minute ago, or a few seconds ago or something, and I didn't acknowledge him just because I was talking to the camera. But I'm going to try to catch moments that he's checking in with me, and he can go and look at things and sniff and do whatever it is that he's doing. I'm just sorry about the waving camera thing. Just trying to shorten up the leash while he's closer to me. But this can also be a good time to just use little prompts. Just gonna wait till he's done sniffing. Hey. Ah, hi. Here you go. Okay, go play. So since I was right beside him, then I just did a little touch to his side, so it's nothing aversive, it's just sort of catching his attention. He's also still pretty scattered from having people in the house earlier today, so the sniffing is important and it can be regulating as well. But anyways, I like to start with the long line on and doing just a couple of reps of either rewarding check-ins or catching his attention, like his right ear just flipped back towards me. Hi. Yeah, thanks. Hi. Sorry, I'm having trouble finding the bag where my treats are. Yeah, we'll play. So I do want to be careful about letting a line drag for a dog that might go further, because I know he has sort of disappeared a couple of times. So if I let the leash drag, then I'm going to do it just for a couple of fairly short short durations between recalls, and hopefully at a time that he's least likely to take off, because the long line dragging on the ground is really only helpful if you're within the realm of catching him. So if he was standing right here, I wasn't holding onto the line, and then I saw a deer up ahead, then I could easily just grab the line and then, can't really go anywhere. Or, I mean, he can if he gives me rope burn and he pulls hard enough, but largely can't go anywhere. Hi. Nice. There we go. So I'm just going to interrupt myself when he does something nice. Whoops. Yeah, you're going to have to find that one. It's right there. Good. Let's go. Yeah, so the dragging line can have moments like that where you're doing a little bit more, he's staying within range of you, you're prompting a little more often, maybe like the more casual recalls or the check-in noises versus like the big run and chase ones. So he can have it on while he's doing the run and chase type of recall. The trouble is if he's much further away and then something does catch his attention that he chases, there is risk with a long line that when he chases whatever it is that he's chasing, he's going to end up tangled around a tree. So with the GPS collar on, I would be a lot more secure in being able to find him. And I mean, he's very vocal, so I'm sure if he got stuck on a tree, he would be screaming for all the world to hear. But it is something that I'm very aware of in areas where there's kind of wooded sections like this, or for a dog who might go fairly far, since he has a couple of times. Hi. Nice, Joyce. Just to decide when is the line on and when is the line off. Let's go. Go play. Look at you being all nice. Good, go play. So that's why in most of the videos, you'll see him without the long line on. And then I'm just mentioning when I'm putting it back on, just because of when I start taking the video, which I'm pretty sure previously was after I took the line off. So hopefully that made sense with all of the interruptions. The other nice thing with having the line on is if you recall, sorry, spiderweb. If you recall him and you need to catch him, like there's actually something imminent there that he cannot go after, you need to get your hands on him. Being able to pick up a long line versus grabbing his body will mean that you're much less likely to damage your recall. So if you tell him that you want him close to you, he comes close to you, and then the consequence of that is that he gets grabbed, he's going to be much less likely to want to come within range. So that is the other benefit of having a line on. So I'm kind of giving you arguments both ways, but like I was saying in the email, sometimes two answers are right. Like, when do you call, when do you not call? And it's really just dependent on the circumstance and doing your best to kind of predict what's to come next. So I haven't heard another deer noise. I don't think we're going to go see that dead raccoon again. You want to come this way? Yeah, nice. Good. Here. Sorry, that took me a sec to get that out. Here you go. Okay, let's go. So for this one, since we're fairly open here, I'm going to drop the line and then do a running recall once he gets a little further ahead. And then if we're kind of good with that, then I'll just pull the line off. That was very nice. I didn't actually whistle you yet. So if he does that, some dogs will start to get very sensitive to when you put the whistle in your mouth. And I don't know if he was just, okay, go play. Turned to check in with me anyways, and then saw the whistle in my mouth. But I have noticed with my own dogs, if I'm out with them and I'm thinking of recalling one of them who's at a distance, the ones close to me see my pick up my whistle and I put it in my mouth, they start to get very excited. Ouch. Okay, so I'll do an actual recall in a second. Yay! Go, go, go! Oh, he's going into me. Yeah, nice. Get it, get it, get it. Where's your chicken? I like that more. Good. Yeah, that was nice and peppy, so I'm just going to pull the leash off. Yeah, keep eating. I don't know if there's anything left there, but this little, sorry for the camera angle here. It's just that thing that I put on his collar because my line doesn't go over his collar. The clip on the collar. Okay, let's go. Go, this way. Just finding the end of my line here. Alright, I'm going to turn this off just for a second so I can do up the long line so it's not dragging. So I just stood still for a minute just to get my long line bundled up. And it's, oh shit. Oh, okay, so this is I'm not going to call him because that was right there. Alright. And I'm just going to give him a second. Look at the antlers on that one. I'm just going to see if there's a pause. So I didn't think he was going to call off there. He might hear. Hold it! Quick, 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 quick! So I'm going to start to run as he catches up and he can see where I am. Yeah, go, 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 go! Hopefully you can still see him. Yeah, get it, get it, get it! Yeah, nice. Alright, so this is like monstrous amounts of cookies. We got the beginning of that chase. I'm gonna head back the other direction. I'm not sure if they might have, I don't know if they leave fawns when they're running, but I don't want to take a chance on that. But the nice thing is he wasn't actually going that fast after them. I thought that was pretty cool when they stood up and started running. But once he got to around the corner of the field there, that was not super fast as he took off after them. Yeah, here, get that. All right, so I want this to be a mega production. I'm gonna try leaving him off the line. Yeah, did you get it all? Get it all. Just because he's not looking back. Let's go. I just want to see if he heads this way. I'm just gonna watch to see if he's checking in with me there and not the deer. Let's go. So I'm just going to be aware of if he's looking for where the deer went. Right there, I'm just trying to get the feet out of my pouch and I have too many pouches on. And if he's looking a little bit. So I'm just going to keep on feeding as we're moving because he's making a good choice to stay with me. sorry to your farmer neighbor for tromping all of this down. Yeah, oh, you dropped it. Yeah, let's keep going. Yeah, let's go. Yeah, you looked at that, huh? Here. Let's go. So I know we are coming up the side of the field where they just were, so I'm just gonna feed as we're walking along here. Let's go. I don't know what the camera's pointing at either. Ouch! Oh, that was a rose bush. Okay, that's a nice shake off. I have my other pouch that had a bit of beef lung as well. Because this is the point that I start to go, oh, I wish I had one additional treat for him. Just since we're kind of still in proximity to where he saw the deer, so the deer aren't there anymore. But that's a hot spot. So you can see this. Nice. So I'm just watching any orienting in that direction. Partly because I don't know if there's a fawn there, which I would not want him to find. And then of course partly just because I think he would go check again. So he's just checking this field for deer. Nice choice. So this is all that reinforcing check-ins. Go play. Oh, he just tripped on a stick. And I'm just aware of arousal levels, which have actually increased a little bit, which could be related. There we go, that's good. Could be related to just sort of like the marching and moving away. It's a little bit exciting. Where's your face? Here it is. Let's go. Ouch. The rose bush really got me. But I am just aware of where his arousal levels are. So how fast is he moving? Is he really orienting towards stuff? Is he a little bit twitchy? Does he start running one direction a little bit faster? I know along here you mentioned that there's sometimes deer at this corner, but again with the potential of a fawn over there, I'm just gonna head this way. I think the fawns might be bigger now, but maybe don't want to take a chance on that. There you go. Nice. Good choice. Want this? Let's go. Yeah. Okay. So we seem pretty uneventful now. I sort of yammered a little bit there. Sorry, it's a little hard to stay on track with a sentence sometimes, especially when doing other things. But I like that his tail's a little bit lower as he's moving along here. He's kind of doing more stopping to sniff and that sort of thing. And then of course I'm also just aware of the person that you had in the house. If he did run that direction, I wouldn't want him to meet her outside, because I think that would be a bit of a fright for her to encounter if he was heading back without me and ran into each other off leash there. So I like his movement a little bit more here. You can see that there's a little bit more variation. He trots a little bit and then he kind of veers off to look in the bushes, and then he trots a little bit. You can see the difference between nose down sniffing, which would be preferable as long as it's a lower arousal. Sometimes they're tracking deer with the nose down sniffing. But the looking up, scanning, I think you might be thinking predatory thoughts a little bit again here. He doesn't look like he's looking at something. Oh yeah, there's actually a deer right up there. I'm just gonna recall here. I don't know if you can see it up the hill. Yeah, get it! Go, 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 go! Yeah, nice. Oh, we are just full of deer today. So I think you could smell them. I think that was that scanning, that head lifting that he was doing. But I don't think he actually saw them yet, because I'm pretty sure he would be off in the field if he did. There we go, get that. They kind of do a scatter and then toss occasional new treats, even if there's still a lot left, just because it's a little extra reinforcing, I think, for a lot of dogs to see the food keep on landing. And then what I might do here is just deciding with the long line, because again we kind of have this dividing into hot spots. So up there the deer were on the other side, and then his arousal kind of creeped up as we were going down the laneway. Yeah, you just keep eating for a second while I decide. And then over here, obviously the deer are standing right there looking at him. So I do want to be aware, again, like we talked about, or I've yammered to you about on video, deciding when to put a long line back on. So the nice thing is he's had a chance for a bit of a run. I think it would be, you know, less punitive now than it was, you know, 10 minutes ago or whenever it was that he called off the deer, when I would be kind of more hesitant. I also had a bit more of a clear escape route versus here. I need to get all the way down to the corner. The deer were up there as he's looking here. So I think I'm going to put him back on the leash now, and then I'm just going to put this down like this for a second. Hold on. I know. Don't leave yet. Just have to get my line untied. I had it all done up so it wouldn't drag all over the place. It takes a second to undo. There we go. All right. Anyway, so I'm going to put him on leash here, just because the likelihood of chasing those deer are very, very high. If they're still there. If they're not there, then that would be great. But deer do have this way of just sort of standing around in the most inconvenient places possible. Or just going barely off into the wooded area. But he would still be able to smell them. Like when he was coming down here in the first point, and I was saying his arousal was lower, and then he started scanning upwards. I think that was the deer. So I'm just going to give him a second on the leash to get around the corner, which also just gives me a sense of how much is he still looking for them. I think it helps that he didn't fully locate them before I did. I don't see them there, but you can see where I'm pointing this. I'm not sure if you could see them on video, but they were right up in this area here, like where that darker spot is. I know, let's go this way. Yeah. Okay, here you go. All right. That's the disadvantage of these lines. They get wet, they get a bit heavy. What are we looking at? All right, well, this has been an exciting walk so far. So I think I'll let him off again. Considering all the excitement, I might just let the camera run. And you can just listen to me pant as I walk up this little hill. Hey, you. There you go. I'm not going to fold the line up quite as much though. I think I'll put him back on the way back as we get to this corner. So sometimes I just let the line drag like this. I just have it tied to my pouch. So I know down this way there's, you know, he could go off that way. I guess he could probably get behind the fence down there, but I gather unless he gets a nose full of something along here, is might be a little bit safer. You can maybe tell me if I'm wrong on that one. Although I guess the tough thing is if he does see something out in that field and he goes for it, then he is well out of sight. But that is what the GPS is really useful for. I mentioned one time, actually, when Sage was in her younger years, she had quite a comfortable distance from me, much more comfortable than I was with her that far away. So that's actually why I got the GPS in the first place, was for her. So she went across this one field, which wasn't planted yet, so it was good visibility, and then just went into the tree line on the other side. And then when I called her, she didn't come back, and that usually would be a situation I would have expected her to recall. And we had only just gotten the GPS at that point. So I'm not sure what you can see. I guess that's a little hard to see, isn't it? Sort of there, you can kind of see it. So you can see that blue triangle is me, and then the little black dog-shaped thing is whatever the collar is attached to. And I have maps overlay on this now, which you can't really see super well on here. He's just being very good standing around up here. So I could look on that, and I saw that she was just running this straight line back and forth. And it was just a weird pattern for a dog to, just run back and forth like that. I didn't know what was beyond the tree line there, so I ended up tromping across this deep, muddy field. And it turns out that there was actually a livestock paddock on that side of the tree line. And she had somehow gotten in, still have no idea how she did that. And she was trying to get out as I was calling her. This just looks like an enjoyable roll, not a dead thing roll. And she was running back and forth along the fence line. So luckily there was nothing in the field. There was no animals in there, because that would have just added a whole other layer of terribleness to the losing a dog situation. But it did mean that I could find exactly where she was. When she wasn't able to get back to me, I found exactly where she was. And I couldn't figure out how she got in. It doesn't surprise me that she couldn't find her own way back out, because she's emotionally smart and not academically smart. You're just choking up your treats. So I will say I was very thankful to have the GPS on that trip. And I think that was first or second time that she wore it outside of using it at the cottage. All right, should we go back? All right, yeah. You want that? So I like these little check-ins that he does. Okay, go play. So, stories aside, just the next time that I hear something that sounds like a deer, I will not assume that I was just hearing noises. I mean, usually they make that noise before they run, so when I didn't see them out in that other field, I thought they had gone already, or weren't there in the first place, because I only heard a little tiny noise once. But there's going to be moments that you're out with him that you just sort of get a feeling, and you kind of like, I kind of feel like something's going to come up. And I would say most of the time it's nothing. And sometimes it could be if you're, a little bit anxious about something else in life, and it just sort of comes out, put on him because, it's a concern that he runs away, obviously. But if you do get that little feeling of, I don't know, maybe he should go back on leash. Never a bad idea just to clip the leash back on. It's a nice thing with the long line is that you're not restricting his freedom as much. Just put it on, feed a lot, then there's at least some sort of compensation for him, and then off he goes. He can wander at the end of the long line for a little bit, and then once you sort of get around the next hill or around the corner or whatever, and you can see that it feels safe again, then you can unclip the leash and tell him to go play. Taking a peek through that crack to see if there's anything down there. But he's doing very well with his proximity. I like that he tends to stay quite close. The only time that he's gone any sort of distance from me has been when there's been something he's actually chasing. I think he sticks closer, in the sample few times that I've had him out. I think he's stuck around closer here. So just watch, I'm going to jinx it as he goes into the bushes here. Versus the back fields out there. I had planned to put him back on the line as we got to this corner. I think I'm going to leave him. And famous last words. Hopefully I don't regret that. But hopefully that's given the deer a little bit longer to clear out. He seems to go more on sight versus tracking scent. Like he air scents to find them, and then he sees them and then chases them. And again, you can let me know if I'm wrong on this. See if this is still recording or I'm talking to the air. But he seems to go a little more on sight. You can kind of see him looking there. He doesn't seem to drop his nose down and track like footstep to footstep. Hey, you want this? Yeah. Hey, Polar, you want this? So this is, you know, casual recall. I'm not running away. This is just a, let's break up the bit of searching that he was doing there. It looked like he was looking for something. You want this one? Yeah, shake it off. Okay, go play. So I've said some affirmative things to him and fed him every time he shakes. Like, yeah, it is wet out, but the context in which he's shaking looks a little more like transition in stress state or anticipated transition in stress state. He's sort of been a little bit tense, and then he pauses, sort of shake it off. So that doesn't mean that he can't go back up in stress again. And again, this isn't, according to him, not bad stress, but there is like he's looking for something and he doesn't have it yet. And then when he pauses and looking for it, you can get that shake off. Might have a few other things going on in his mind. I think this is where I dropped a bunch of treats before. I'm just going to add to the pile because, again, he's scanning off that way. Yeah, let's go. Should we go? What time is it here? But I like when he does the little shake-offs. That's sort of a tick in the right direction. So as I'm coming up to the end here, what are we looking at? I don't think I fed you there. Oh, is that something gross? I don't see anything. You're just rolling. All right. Here we go. So I'm going to put him on leash coming up to the corner here. Throws himself down again. Because we're going to be starting to turn back. And again, I don't know what time your dad's helper is there for. So I don't want to have him off leash to either notice the dogs in my car or notice her coming out. So those are situations that I would leash fairly early, just preventatively. Same thing if you're anticipating somebody's going to come on the property and you're taking them out. Good idea just to, have the leash on you, not only just for doing some of these chasing preventions situation. I'm not sure what he's up to there. But also being able to just leash up if you need to get back towards the house if you're not sure if somebody might be coming or going that he's not comfortable with. All right, so I'm just going to pop this off now.